of why you would want to send money and basically capture that market is interest. Today we're talking about the Everything app and how it acts like a bank, how crypto is treated as a reserve to make money, the ISO 20022 trio, XLM, XRP, XDC, and how DOGE wants to be them, the future of finance with XDC, your money, the app holds it, you earn interest, and they keep it. Stay tuned. So what is the Everything app? Well, that's something that Elon Musk has talked about to basically become the one-stop shop for messaging, payments, entertainment, everything you can think of. Why is this important? Because if you want to do payments on chain, you're going to have to use some type of crypto, or at least something similar to how he used to do it with PayPal. He recently acquired X.com from PayPal back in 2017. So he's been working on, in my opinion, working on this type of system to become the Everything app. X.com has basically obtained the licenses to send payments, which includes crypto. And in my last videos, I talked about how the ISO 20022 standard is really important for some of this stuff. He's a real advocate of Dogecoin, but I personally think XLM is better poised for this. Why do I say that? Well, ISO 20022 compliance is already with XLM. And what is the ISO compliance? That's something I talked about in my last video, but basically it's just the standard that banks love. If a lot of these cryptos in the past videos, I talked about how XLM, XRP, XDC, and HBAR are all part of this ISO standard. That doesn't mean that the banks are adopting it. It just means that they're ready to go plug and play. XLM has that standard. Now, as you know, as I stated already, Doge is something that Elon Musk loves. It is not ISO compliant, but you can wrap the ISO, basically wrap Doge and put it on an XLM type network. That's something, in my opinion, that I can see them doing. Why would you want to wrap something and put it on the network? Well, if as the name of the game, you can basically leverage against it. You lock up that Doge, you can mint a W Doge, and you can use it for cross-border payments, either with XRP or XDC. So let me go on to my next point. Follow the money. Venmo is owned by PayPal. Now, how does Venmo make your money? Now, there's no fees to send it, but basically Venmo makes your money by the float. That is the balances that you keep on your Venmo account. Now, I created this graphic real quick just to explain this. So let's say you send $500 to your friend. They keep it in there for maybe a week. This is estimates, and I just wanted to show you. But based on the Treasury estimates, they make about 4.5% off of that money that's sitting in the account. And so all that money is just collecting interest, and they're making around $202 million. So you send it, your friend leaves it on the exchange, they're netting this amount, and that's how much money they're getting. So to my point of why you would want to send money and basically capture that market is interest. So I created this little graphic on what I think this might be, and this is a straight up concept. But they all have the ISO, basically they're all compatible with cross-border payments, but I think the name of the game might be with stablecoins, but I can see them using XLM, Ripple, and XDC, but a subnet through that, and I could see them basically sending transactions on here. Back to my point of how they would make money. As you know, Venmo's owned by PayPal. Elon Musk used to be a part of. They have about 90 million users. This is estimates, and this is, like I said, a concept. You have 600 million potential users with X.com. So if everyone wanted to put $5-10 on there, that's a lot of money. Well, you can stake about 5 to 8%. And as you know in my last video, how kind of that huge balloon effect of what happens when you start borrowing against it. But that's where this money is coming from. Basically, the interest that's on chain, they're making this type of money. And so they can use that through all of those fees. So they can potentially add this much money to their balance sheet. And I can go over this more, but this is kind of where I'm seeing the push towards having an app like this. You get to capture that entire market and have that float on chain. And it could be with Doge, could be with XLM, could be with XRP, XDC, but I like XDC because they're facilitating all of the transactions with RWA. Solana might be on there too, but I have to double check their ISO standard, but this is kind of where I see this market going. And to add to this point of basically having your own private blockchain, kind of what XDC does with their private subnets, I can see them building some type of relay that they can track your title on, your bond on, and all your transactions, but in a more micro scale. And that's kind of why I like XDC, because you can create a subnet for lots of different things, for lots of different vehicles. Almost the possibilities for growing are infinite. Imagine being able to send your title with the Everything app, through the blockchain. That is a world that makes sense to me. But right now we're at the central bank stage of just kind of building out this network, seeing it as a proof of concept. But as we go from the central banks, I can see it going to your local economy. This is not a financial advice channel. I just really love going over the infrastructure side of these blockchains. I want to show you how we're going from the old system, the old financial system, to the new financial system, and how there's nothing new under the sun. Now, the markets are very different. It's a very different vehicle. And there's other people who do that very well, and I'm not a financial advice person. I watch Tori Trades, and she basically goes over trend lines and kind of a very simplistic approach on how she does it. And she's a great channel. I would love for you to watch her. Also, Jay Bravo, he's pretty good. He pretty much gives you a toolkit on what's going on in the markets, but everything is, you have to do your own research. I'm just here to show you what's going on. So back to the main program. The money concept makes sense to me because you can send and receive, and you might be able to send and receive real world assets through tokenizations. And what is real world assets? That's a fancy word for a new NFT, but something instead of a picture, it could be a title or some type of real estate transaction. I like this concept, but we're going to be doing some more deep dives on that in the future because this isn't anything new. And I can definitely see other players come into the mix. How I make my money on this channel is I do tech consulting and I build custom servers. These custom servers are data that you own with you. You have your assets with you. You should also have your data with you. Also, I would love just to hear from you. I actually don't ever use the word subscribe because in my opinion, I don't like that. I don't really like hearing about it. If you want to subscribe, you subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, you don't subscribe. I just want to talk to you, and I'll see you in my next video.